Hi everybody. In this video I'm going to be talking about Weyerhaeuser Company. Ticker name is WY. They are engaged in the manufacture, distribution, and sale of forest products. So I think they're in a pretty decent space, working with the forest products. Yeah, I won't get into it too much, but I think they are in a decent space. Now, looking at the chart, I'm zoomed in a little bit, and because this run, I'll zoom. Well, maybe I should zoom out and then I'll zoom in. But I think this little flag right here is this whole build up here is the important one to look at. Let's zoom out first though and kind of get the big picture. So, big picture is we've been at these levels before. Somewhat steady. Did have this really huge drop, I guess, towards the end of 2018 and whatever. And then kind of built it back up, had your COVID drop, and climbed back up from COVID. So that's why I'm looking at closer to this level, because this does play support and resistance over here. Sorry, I was pointing with my finger. You guys can't see that. But this does play some support and resistance over here, but not such a big deal. It's 2 years old. I mean, it just shows general levels. So, you know, you're going to have support and resistance in this level. It's just kind of like a level where it's been before. So anyways, what's important to me is that it blasted past the pre-COVID levels whenever it stuttered right here, and then it shoots through. So what you have is coming up strong, hits the pre-COVID level, gives you a nice rejection, comes back to it, rejects, and it keeps kind of tapping the bear a little bit, and we determine, boop, we're still like, some people don't want to buy, some people want to sell at this point, run out of sellers, and determine, yes, we are going to go past that level. And when this happens, this is going to be a recurring theme. When you break this resistance point, especially when it's flat line resistance like that, and you're going to bounce for a good 15% jump or so. So that's what they did. That's what this stock did. Or 10% or whatever, I mean, in the last video I said few percent. It just depends on what the stock is, how the chart looks. But you're gonna go for a nice jump, is the point. Now, after this takeoff here, typical that after that nice jump, you're gonna pull back. What's typical is you pull back to a little bit above the point where you just took off from, and sometimes to the point or whatever, but usually this spot holds the support because it is just determined by investors that that this spot was the stock was more valuable than this spot because it got rejected a couple times and stuttered here, and then was like, okay, we're more valuable than this. We're going past it. So it's pretty strong support whenever this happens, and that's something that you can look out for. On charts in general, it's just good technical analysis to look for. I mean, yes, you can draw trend lines, and you could draw a trend line from here, 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 and it is kind of remarkable when you look at that, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks really nice. And I think I even had one on here, and but you can just kind of see it with your eyes. But you can get carried away with that stuff a little bit, in my opinion, and forget about just the nice common sense stuff of seeing that, look at that, that is a price that investors wanted to sell at, but you kept wanting to come back to it with strength, with momentum. You can see that you're wanting to, you think investors think that the company is more valuable than this level, or not like a lot of them, but like you see that there's a decent amount of that thought, but this level is just such a mindset. That's why it's resistance level, because it's been rejected before. And that's why when you bust through it, you bust through with decent gains. So anyways, so it usually holds its support. So what I'm looking for on this retrace is to enter again and watch it go back above this high of like 34.71. So that'd be a nice gain anyways. When it goes above that, then you're going to be going for, you know, a decent amount above that. So if that was 34.71 at this high right here, you'll be getting, you know, you just have to watch it out, but, you know, up to the 36s or whatever. But it's going to be, if that would play out, that'd be a real nice gain. You know, it'd be, maybe you get looking at 15% or so. So the question is, does it have more room to come down, or is it ready to go up now? I don't think, like I said, I don't think it comes down further than this. Sometimes it can kind of come down to this, like on stocks when it does this type of thing, it comes down to like this range. But when you have this much momentum of an explosion up, I don't think that it does, because like when it's stronger, the stronger it is, the higher it's likely to catch. So I actually think this is a pretty likely spot that it caught, especially because you did stutter here and bust through it again. I think this is probably a pretty likely spot that it caught. You'll see a lot more on Monday or tomorrow, Tuesday, whenever it opens, how, you know, what it looks like. But that's what I would overall be anticipating, is that this here is probably a level it's going to keep, and then it'll probably push above. But there's a chance that it has more room to come down before it bounces back. I don't really think it does, but there's a chance, and that's why we can stay fluid. Well, what I do is see how it opens on Monday. As long as it's holding these levels, I'm super happy. If it opens up, you know, yeah, you miss out on some of the gain. You're like, oh, bummer. But, or maybe you don't miss out. Maybe you owned it over the weekend. I mean, I certainly would have if I had looked at this chart before the weekend, but that's not the point. Point is, going forward on Monday, if it opens up, I can be, if it's trading up here or anywhere higher, I'm loving this stock because it's looking like a turnaround. And you could get this where when you have this micro, let me zoom it in even more, and you got this little bull flag of like lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then you come up to, so if you could rebound to here, it could show as like this lower high from this trend line and then reject. So you could get this rebound from here and still reject. And these, but I'll be fluid in this area. Maybe sell. If I see a trend change on like the daily chart here, on the intraday chart I mean here, then I'll definitely sell. And then I'll be looking for a trend change here, because I think you get, if you did reject here at lower high, you are likely to get a higher low, and then that's extremely bullish. When you get this higher low, you got a trend change. If it did go for a lower low, I'd be consistently looking for, because then it'd be getting really close to this area that I like for major support. So then I'd be looking down here for a trend change, and as soon as I see a trend change on the 1 minute chart or whatever, when it's in this area or anywhere below here, I'd be in, so when I see an inflection point on the daily chart and it gets to that price point, I'm looking for that sign to jump in or jump out on the 1 minute chart. Anyways, but it's not certain that it would just reject when it gets to here off of this flag, because it could stutter and then just pop. That's kind of what I could see it doing. So either way, I would be looking on Monday to own this stock and to own it unless I see a trend change on the 1 minute chart in this spot. And if I do see a trend change on the 1 minute chart in this spot, by a trend change I mean a lower high, because if it's working higher or even a lower low, but typically a lower high comes first, then as soon as I saw a trend change in the other direction, I would buy it again. So, and if I don't see a trend change here, I'll hold it because it could just boost straight higher. So that is my game plan for this stock, WY. Again, to summarize that, I'll be looking to hold. Oh, and maybe I didn't mention, if it goes below this price, like 31.87 or even like 32.10, I will probably be looking to sell. Definitely, like if it doesn't open up at all, if it just like is here or opens down or whatever, if it's going below this price, then I'm definitely looking to sell, not hold it, and then look for a trend change anywhere in here for a buy. So that's my game plan for WY. Peace.